No matter how tired I am, I still come here to upload these stories for you. Some days it's really hard, but I don't stop. If you enjoy them, subscribe. I canceled the wedding while my fiancée was on a trip with her ex after she said, "It's just a friendly trip. It's just a friendly trip." Emily Hartwell smiled as she said it, like it was the most normal thing in the world. I stood there in our kitchen in Westport, Connecticut, holding 2 coffee mugs that suddenly felt heavier than they should. A friendly trip? I repeated. She nodded casually, scrolling through her phone as if we were discussing grocery lists, not her traveling across the country with her ex. "Ryan and I ended things years ago, Daniel," she said. "There's nothing there anymore." I watched her carefully. Her tone was calm, controlled, almost rehearsed. "But you're going to Napa with him," I said. "Just the 2 of you." She sighed, like I was being unreasonable. "It's not like that. Let me ask you something. If the person you were about to marry told you they were going on a private trip with someone they once loved, would you feel secure or replaced?" Because in that moment, I didn't feel secure. I felt like I was slowly being pushed out of my own future. Emily walked past me, placing her suitcase near the door. "It's already booked, Daniel. I'm not canceling it over insecurity." That word stayed with me. Insecurity. We had spent 14 months planning a wedding that was supposed to be flawless. A vineyard ceremony in Sonoma. 200 guests. Every detail curated down to the linen textures and the exact shade of ivory. And yet, here we were, arguing over another vineyard trip, one that didn't include me. "Why him?" I asked quietly. She paused for a second. "Because we're still friends," she said. "And because he understands parts of me that you don't." That sentence didn't sound aggressive. It sounded honest. And somehow, that made it worse. I didn't yell. I didn't argue anymore. I just nodded. "Okay," I said, but something inside me shifted. Something quiet, but permanent. The next morning, I drove her to the airport. The silence between us felt stretched thin, like it could snap at any second. She kissed me before getting out of the car. "Don't overthink this," she whispered, and then she walked away. I watched her disappear into the terminal. And for the first time since I proposed, I felt like I had already lost her. The house felt different without her. Too clean, too quiet. Her presence had always filled the space with movement, with energy. Now it felt like a showroom. I tried to distract myself with work. Emails, calls, anything that would stop my mind from replaying that moment. But it kept coming back. "It's just a friendly trip." That phrase echoed in my head like a question I couldn't answer. On the second night, I checked her social media. I told myself I wouldn't, but I did. There she was, standing in a vineyard, laughing. And behind the camera, I knew who was holding the phone. Ryan Carter, her ex. He wasn't tagged, but I didn't need him to be. I recognized the angle, the way she smiled. It wasn't the smile she gave me when we took photos together. It was softer, less guarded. I closed the app immediately, but it was too late. Something inside me cracked. The next day, I received a text from her. "Hope you're okay." That was it. Not "I miss you." Not "wish you were here." Just "hope you're okay." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I replied, "Yeah." Nothing more. Hours passed. Then another message. "Ryan says hi." That one hit differently. I didn't respond. Instead, I sat down at the dining table. The same table where we had discussed our future, our kids, our plans. And I started asking myself something I had been avoiding. Was I actually part of her future? Or just filling time until she figured things out? Because people don't risk something real for something meaningless. They risk it for something unresolved. That night, I opened my laptop. Not to work, not to distract myself, but to look at something I had ignored for too long. Our relationship. Every conversation. Every compromise. Every moment where I felt like I was adjusting more than she was. And for the first time, I wasn't trying to defend her. I was trying to see clearly. And what I saw wasn't comforting. It was imbalance. I loved her fully. She loved me, conditionally. That realization didn't come with anger. It came with clarity. And clarity can be more dangerous than emotion. The next morning, I made a decision. Not out of impulse. Not out of jealousy. But out of something much quieter. Self-respect. I called the wedding planner. "Hi, this is Daniel Whitfield," I said. "I need to cancel the event." There was silence on the other end. "I am sorry," Khan said. "Yes," I said calmly. The wedding is not happening. It felt strange how simple it sounded, after everything we had built. But sometimes the hardest decisions come out sounding the most ordinary. By the time Emily returned 3 days later, everything was already in motion. Deposits forfeited, guests notified, venue released. She walked into the house with a relaxed expression that slowly faded when she saw me sitting at the table. "What's wrong?" she asked. I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't feel like I was about to lose her. I felt like I had already let her go. "I canceled the wedding," I said. Her face froze. "You what?" "I canceled it," I repeated. Her expression shifted from confusion to disbelief, then to anger. "Are you serious right now?" "Yes." "Because I went on a trip?" she said, raising her voice. "No, irraplia calmly. Because you chose that trip over us." "That's not fair," she snapped. "Isn't it?" She stared at me, searching for something to argue against, something to hold on to. But there wasn't anything left. "Nothing happened," she said, softer now. And that was the moment, the midpoint, because suddenly it wasn't about what happened. It was about why she needed it to happen. "Emily," I said quietly, "this was never about whether you cheated." She blinked. "It was about the fact that you needed to go." She didn't respond. "You need to see if there's still something there," I continued. "And that means there wasn't enough here." Her silence said everything her words didn't. And in that silence, the truth finally stood on its own. She didn't go on that trip because it was meaningless. She went because it mattered. And that changed everything. Let me ask you something. If someone has to leave you to figure out if they want you, are they really choosing you at all? She sat down slowly. "I didn't think you'd react like this." "I didn't either," I admitted. "But I'm not reacting," I added. "I am deciding." Tears filled her eyes. "Daniel, we can fix this." I shook my head gently. "You don't fix something by testing it somewhere else." The room fell silent again. But this time, it wasn't heavy. It was final. Days passed after that conversation. She moved out quietly. No dramatic exit. No slam doors. Just a quiet ending to something that once felt certain. And strangely, I felt lighter. Not because it didn't hurt, but because I wasn't pretending anymore. Sometimes the hardest part isn't losing someone. It's realizing you were holding on to something that was already gone. And once you see that clearly, you stop chasing it. What's your personal reflection? Would you have canceled the wedding like Daniel did? Or given the relationship another chance after the trip?